My video game, Brane. Brane is a two-level 2D based in the space. You play a brain trying to get stronger. In the first level you have to collect TVs and books. Books speed you up and TVs slow you down, acting like a real brain. You need to collect all the pickups in a certain amount of time to go to the second level. In the second level you have to dodge fireballs, which instantly set your speed to 0. If you manage to resist to all of them after the 1500 frames timer, you win. An instruction in the right of the screen tells the player what he needs to do. This second level is almost impossible to achieve on the first try because you need to remember the order and position of each fireball to dodge all of them. The game has 3 scenes: the main menu, the command menu, and the actual game. You can easily get back to the main menu by pressing M in the 2 other scenes. I've also put a quit button for the player. If we take a look at the name of the script, we can understand our functions. I will start by explaining my first script and main one, the one attached to the player character. I used 4 different using keywords. Unity Engine lets me use the basics of the Unity coding. Unity Engine UI is necessary in my code to access the text and images in the canvas and disable or enable them. Unity Engine Scene Management has to be called so the player can access the main menu scene when clicking the M button. System Collection allows me to use pre-made classes and interface. I use different kind of variables such as text, rigid body, image, game object, float, and int. The public variables are the ones that I have to define in Unity, such as the projectiles or the texts, because they are not related to the player. And the private ones are set in the start function or later in the script because their value is not static. In my start void, I disable every pickup, text, or projectile that I don't want to be seen straight at the beginning of the scene. I also define the value of certain variables such as speed, health, etc. Health is called health in my script, but it is actually the speed and will give information to the speed bar. In fixed update, I set the controls of the player with the keyboard arrows. I also add some force to it and get the frame timer to go down every frame. Speed health is my void that is called by other voids to update the speed bar visually. Late update is used so that the timer is showed to the player via a text until it reaches 0. Update is called every frame so it can check if some conditions are filled up. Here I have coded the scene changing when the player presses M, but also the game over and winning conditions. In set count text, I keep track of the number of books and TVs the player picked up in the first round. It is called every time the player picks up something. The void on trigger enter 2D is the void to say to the code that the player is picking up an object. Therefore there is a collision. That is why we need to define a collider 2D to use collision in the void. I called it other. The first 2 if statement define if the player passed the first round and can go to the second round or not. The tag bait is only active on the graduation hat between the 2 rounds. Being picked up, it will activate the fireballs and deactivate itself. Talking about the fireballs, if the player collides with one of them, he will instantly be frozen and will need to go back to the main menu. If the player picks up a book, he wins a certain amount of speed and a point on the score. If he picks up a TV, he loses some speed but still wins a point. If he gets all the pickups in the first round, the graduation hat will appear, called round here. I used compare tag and set a tag on each pickup so that they affect the player differently. I learned that on a Unity tutorial and managed to use it on my own way. I also used a simple script attached to the camera to make it follow the player. I used the vector 3 instead of the vector 2 because I thought in maybe future levels I could make rotations on the player and then the camera follows the rotations because the arena is round. On every pickup I have attached a simple rotating script. For the buttons, I have attached an easy script to an empty game object and made it the child of the button. Each projectile has this script attached to it. It has a public vector too that I can modify in Unity to set the direction of the projectile. Also, every button in the menu has a simple animation called when it is pressed or highlighted. In the menu, it looks a bit like that. And when you click play, you go on the menu and start playing again. For the music of the game, I was thinking of a classic lounge bar music as a background. That would look like this. To conclude, I think I could improve this game by putting it in 3D or putting more levels in it. So that's all for my presentation. Thanks for listening, hope you enjoyed it, and give it a try.